Hi, it's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, so welcome to the Retained Recruiter Show. My name is James.
And my name is Jo. Thank you ever so much for joining us all using recruitment technology. And, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, isn't it, James?
Absolutely, using it. Making sure it actually works on time. So we were just having a little giggle behind the scenes, just thinking, is all the cameras working? Is everything working today? So yeah, we've got hopefully an interesting show for people to listen to today. I want to give you some hints and tips on the things that you should be looking out for in the world of rec tech, which is now a massive market. I was doing some research last week, Jo, and the rec tech market is now globally is worth £3.4 billion.
Wow.
Might have been dollars, but 3.4 billion of many.
It's about the same thing nowadays, James.
Oh, that's true. I don't need to worry about that. Do I?
No conversion rates anymore.
Yeah, so it's a massive market, and so when we look back at the evolution of rec tech, obviously you sometimes joke at me in terms of James started recruitment in the 80s, and obviously rec tech then was a fax machine.
Yeah.
And a Rolodex. We didn't even have computers when I started. It was all sort of manual card decks and things like that. But recruitment tech has come on a long way. Obviously, it started out with CRM systems, and that's still a massive part of the market today. And we want to sort of touch on those little bits. There's applicant tracking systems. Sometimes people say, what's the difference between the two? And we'll try and give a little bit of direction on that as well, Jo. And then there's all the what I call peripheral technology, which have come around the edges and actually started to come into the market, helping recruiters deliver a better service to their clients, but also to their candidates. So in terms of candidate sourcing tools, that's all tech driven at this moment in time. Business development tools, obviously very important, and along the such like. So we'll talk about all of those things. So again, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments box. Jo, what would you like to say next?
I was going to say that you've absolutely stolen my thunder. I was going to say, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments box. At no point are we going to recommend one tech stack over another. We are going to talk to you about how to find and research the best tech for your business. But I think we should probably start off by kind of explaining a bit more about recruitment tech and what it is and what it can be used for. Because I do think that in recruitment, we tend to think about recruitment tech, the obvious, which is your CRM, your database.
Yeah.
But then also after that, we're sort of thinking, my head immediately goes to sort of inbound lead generation, that kind of stuff, and the technology that we can get that's going to help to support us with that. But actually, I think what we want to talk about today as well is not just using technology to help you to find good candidates and clients, but it's going to help you to keep them. And as it says in the title, to differentiate you from everybody else. Because let's face it, if it's worth £87 trillion, like James has just said, then most people are using it. So if everybody's using the same platforms in the same way, how is it now differentiating us if everybody is all on the same bandwagon? James, answer me that question.
Well, I think for me, part of differentiation is how you use it in sort of building your business, because there's a lot of tech which is must have, and it improves efficiencies behind the scenes. But also there's tech that we want to talk about which actually helps you get out in front of your clients, the people who actually pay your bills. From that side. So I think it's all about understanding that. So let's just go through some of those tech terms. So CRM, in terms of, the CRMs that people use. And again, we're not here to recommend any, but, we hear back from people. The market, there are tens, if not hundreds of different CRM systems. So it wouldn't be right for us to even try and recommend one. Obviously, when we look around the clients we have, they use all the big systems. So whether it's a Bullhorn or Recruitment Made Simple or Manatal or Vincere or this one or that one. I mean, we've worked with over 300 companies, and I don't want to say that means there's 300 systems. There aren't, of course, but there are so many out there that people use. But it's about using your CRM. Your CRM is really, for me, Jo, a lot of it nowadays, or the majority of that use of the CRM is behind the scenes. It's to sort of manage your data in terms of whether you're connecting with your clients or your candidates using that tool. It's a critical piece. It's almost now become a de facto cost of the business. You've got to have it. When you try and evaluate what's the ROI, the return on investment of my CRM system, they can be sometimes difficult to measure. So, people are listening and think, I've tried this system and I've tried that system, and moving is a real problem. I find it's difficult to migrate from one system to another. I've worked on projects where we have looked at moving, and it's it's a significant challenge to the business. So it's about finding one that does the absolute there's so many bells and whistles out there on them. You've got to think about, what is it I need? So if I'm a small 1-man 2-man business, My needs are very different to a business which has got 100 employees all using the same system. So you need to sort of scale up effectively and think about what is it that you need to get, what do you want your system to do for you? And there's a great phrase, isn't it? Our colleague Paul Hickey talks about a lot, Joe. What's that phrase that we like to use?
Do what you do best and then outsource the rest.
Yeah, so it's about which improve your efficiency so that you can maximize your time, which is, if you're the business owner, you're involved particularly, in a client-facing thing, most of your time should be spent in front of clients, not hiding around systems, hiding behind emails and doing the marketing. That's a different function of the business. And your CRM is about managing your data on that side of things. There's sometimes a lot of crossover between CRM and ATS, and ATS are often, we find they're more often used in the employer side or in the in-house recruiter side, applicant tracking systems, in terms of there to manage high volume sort of workloads of candidates coming in. And they're not really CRM systems as does what it says on the tin. One is to manage relationships and one is to track candidates who are coming through. So most recruiters that we work with work on CRM systems, Joe. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we talk to a lot of businesses who are looking to start up. One of the first questions that they ask is, what CRM system should I get? Yeah. And I sometimes think that it can be a curse as well as a blessing, a CRM system. You have to work with your CRM system. You've got to cleanse it. You've got to use the data intelligently. There's no point just using it as a massive mountain of information that you're not digging into, you're not using. At any given time, about 20% of a typical CRM is active, i.e. being activated, being spoken to at any given time. So, some of the biggest recruitment organizations in the world who say, they profess to have the biggest database as well. Actually, you can have the biggest database on the planet, but if you're not using it, if you're not regenerating talent from out of it, if you're not using it and coding it correctly so that you can get into it and you can get at people, and you're not using it to track and to plot and to plan your relationship management with the people who are on it, then it's not a CRM. It's just a museum of people that you're not using. Old clients saying to me, if it's not on the system, it doesn't exist. It's absolutely true. You have to be able to use the system. I spoke to a guy and he was putting his business development leads on there. So let's talk about it really simplistic. He was doing business development. It was just...
We're losing a bit there, Joe, so I don't know whether you can hear me, but I'm just going to sort of step in there. In an earlier show on the Retained Recruiter show, we spoke a little bit about marketing and business development. Your CRM system is really part of your marketing activity to sort of maintain those relationships. And business development, your CRMs, yes, it feeds the business development, but obviously business development is much more personal, whereas we spoke about marketing being a lot more relationship driven and actually getting your brand out there and getting it known. So I think that's an important distinction to make. And what we want to talk about, and one of the things that we come across here at iIntro is actually, does your tech, does it add value? And I know that's a cliche in terms of what does add value mean. So what we want to try to find that as today is it actually helping you get out there and win more business? Does your tech enable you to actually win business? Therefore, does the tech actually create value rather than just being a cost to the business? And it's really important that we actually sort of look at those particular elements. And one of the things that's really, when you look around the edges of the tools that are now out there, and we see all of these, whether it's behavioral assessments, the CRMs, the ATSs, the video software that's out there, they're all great tools, but you've got to question this. Does it actually, is it an efficiency gain or is it a business development gain? And you might say, surely they can feed in together, but actually, does it help me win business? Because most people who've come onto this show and listening to us on a regular basis know that, this is all about winning business from that side of things. And, I think we've got Joe back. We lost you, Joe, but you're back, so don't worry. I haven't stolen any of your thunder so far.
Sorry about that. I genuinely thought the whole thing had crashed, but clearly it was just me.
Yeah, and I think Palmer's put up a point there. It says market automation systems manage prospect relationships, not the CRMs. I think that's where there's a crossover, Palmer, and it's not to disagree with you on this one, but a lot of CRMs do have marketing automation built into them nowadays. That's how these things have progressed and moved on, and it's that confusion in the marketplace. And I'd say they are there to sort of help, but it's about what does your technology do to differentiate you? That's what the story is about today. How can your technology differentiate you? If I've got one CRM and Joe's got another, how are we any different? possibly we're not really, are we? So we want to talk about the technology that sets you apart in the marketplace. And what does that mean? It's actually going to be the forward-facing elements of technology that actually sort of, your clients can see, touch, and feel. I think that's a really important part of differentiating yourself. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. If everyone's got the same tech, so I mean, let's think about where we can inject tech into our business. And the most cautionary tale I think with this is that let's use technology to enhance our service, not dilute it. I think during COVID, everyone, we were very panicked. We went into a remote world, whether we liked it or not. It was the only way that we could still continue to get in front of candidates and clients and continue our businesses. So if we hadn't made decisions about recruitment tech before then we really needed to make decisions. I met with a lot of businesses who had sort of stockpiling recruitment tech, either because of COVID or in the hope that it was going to make their business better. And actually what they've ended up with is a lot of recruitment tech that they aren't using intelligently, which I think is what differentiates us. It's not what we've got, but it's how we use it in our businesses that will differentiate us. So we have to look at tech-enabled recruitment rather than recruitment-enabled tech. We are still a human attached to the other end of the machine here. So I think it's definitely how we use it, but also it's about not making good decisions about the tech that you want and what you need it for. So looking at the areas of your business and thinking, okay, what functions do we perform as a business? What functions do my recruiters perform? Listing all those out and then looking at which one of those, what would it be detrimental to if I was to replace it or subsidize it with technology? So there's some parts of our job that are back office and they're admin-based tasks. They are things that could be automated and it wouldn't dilute the value of what we're doing. So that's the sort of things that we should be looking at. So for example, we were talking about marketing, inbound lead generation, brand awareness, building, increasing reach, increasing engagement, increasing clients. So using technology for that. But then also once you've got your clients and your candidates into the business, we need to be looking at what technology could we be using then that doesn't just enhance our performance and make us more efficient, but enhances our clients' hiring accuracy, enhances our candidate experience. So we are getting that candidate and client advocacy. So it's not just about making us faster and better. It's about being able to provide a service to a candidate and client that they're not getting anywhere else, but that they can clearly see. I think this is something that I love about iIntro. They can clearly, A, see what they're getting, B, see the difference, but C, they can see the demonstrable value that it serves in their business. Because with all the recruitment tech on the planet, if you're still saying to your clients and candidates, trust us, we've got 15 years experience, or trust me, I know what I'm doing, it's still intangible. They can't see it. So sometimes recruitment technology can help to make the intangible tangible and productize what is essentially a conceptual sell.
Good, Joe. There's a lot of good points you made in there.
There was a lot of information in there. Sorry, it's because I'd gone for 45 seconds.
No, I want to go back to a couple of points, mate. But yeah, you just reminded me when you said the fact, around COVID, a lot of people started collecting rec tech, didn't they, to keep up with the Joneses. Type of thing. And, I've got to have it. What's the next fad that's going to be there? And people were just sort of bolting on things. And then you find out that a lot of these things, although, again, for the techies out there, there's what are called API integrations, which are meant to join them all together. But you find you've got all these boxes of kit, effectively, all in disparate places, and they don't talk to each other. So you sort of got to find that. And what you're really looking for is a single point solution that's going to help you on that side of things. So I think it's important that a lot of people have bought tech and become a little bit disillusioned with it because they spent, whether it's hundreds or thousands, it's probably thousands in reality, they're finding, it's just another piece of kit that I've bought. And listen, I've done it. Behind me, I've got some kit that I bought, nothing to do with RecTech, but kit for during lockdown. I thought, that's good. And it might have been 400 quid's worth of VR stuff or something like that. I thought, never used it. So therefore, it's no good. No, that's not true. I bought it for the wrong reason. I didn't know why I bought it. I just collected it. And I think that's what you've got to be really careful about. Don't just collect kit just for the sake of having it. What does it do for me? And one of the things, go back, if you've ever listened to any of our shows before, if you haven't, where have you been? But if you haven't, there was one that we did with Neil Carberry a few weeks ago. And he made an expression. I was just flicking back through my notes. And he said, recruitment is a tech-enabled people business. You've got to look at what things can you automate, again, as Joe was touching, that will replace effectively menial work. I don't mean that in a bad way, but things that will leave you out there in front of you. So I think that's really important to get across. And then I think we need to say that, Joe, again, I think you've said some great phrases. I'm going to repeat them so people really hear this. Yeah, in terms of, how can you productize the recruitment process? Because if you walk along to your clients, and this is where we can start talking about how do you use tech to differentiate yourself. If you just walk along as a recruiter and you slide in the door at last minute and say, "Hi, I'm James from XYZ Recruitment. I've got 15 years recruitment experience. Trust me, I know all the candidates in the market. I know where they will hire. I can get those for you. Trust me, trust me, trust me." Hey, listen, you're going to win some business. But nowadays, the world is a little bit, there's been quite a lot of evolution going on in the recruitment marketplace. And you've got to say to clients, this is how we do business. This is how we source candidates, same way as you do. Whether it's LinkedIn or whether you're using some of the technology tools, which the clients can now get access to, because a lot of these companies, they'll go direct to large employers. Now, if you're working with SMEs, okay, they're not going to have some of those. So you might say, we know how to get you great candidates. That's great. But what do you do? Because if you say to a client, what do you think I do? Well, they say, after this meeting, I think you're going to go back to your office. You're going to stick a few queries into your CRM, your system, come up with a few candidates, plump them onto my desk in a few days' time or a few hours' time, and expect 20% of the salary. And I think it's outrageous. Not me speaking, I'm saying, that's what clients think. So you say, oh, no, we do much more than that. And you try and explain it, but you've lost it already because the client can't see it, because they've heard it so many times. They've heard the "trust me, I'm an experienced recruiter" type scenario. So imagine for a moment being able to showcase your process, and that's where you can look to technology. Now, okay, I've got a vested interest in this. This is what we do at iIntro. We're a single point solution that you can use to behind the scenes to administer your vacancies, but more importantly, how you can use it to showcase how you differentiate yourself out there in the marketplace. Now, are there other solutions? Yes, of course, there are other things out there. But what you've got to look at is that the point I made earlier, make sure that, everything comes together, not a bit of this, a bit of that, because that looks disjointed. So that's really important. And,
Yes.
There's a little message on screen where I think it's about to pop up somewhere.
Yeah, there we go. So if you are interested in talking to us about the platform, how to make the intangible tangible, then book a call. So www.retainedcall.com. So I think a lot of people might have come onto this thinking, oh, they're going to talk about marketing and they're going to talk about technology that we could use for marketing. And I think we might have thrown a curveball in here, because actually what we're saying is people might go, oh, but I need more clients. Well, great. But if you are going out there with the same proposition, it doesn't matter how many pieces of rec tech you're putting it on. If you're saying the same thing as everybody else, you're just joining in the white noise brigade, unfortunately. So I suppose what we're saying is really have a think about the service part of your process and how you could use technology to help with that. Not just in terms of what we're talking about, sourcing and selection and increasing hiring accuracy, which is a great benefit to candidates and clients. But also, only 20% of the marketplace is active at any given point. So rec tech is actually really valuable and useful for using. Again, you've got to make sure that it is completely married into your CRM. But it's great for using to create a consistent communication plan with passive candidates and passive clients. So actually, it doesn't all have to be brand new marketing, inbound leads from brand new companies and candidates. It can be helping you with what you've already got. So I think it's worth pointing that out. Just to go back to your point before about increasing hiring accuracy, I've got this. Whenever you go into recruitment businesses and you say, what recruitment tech have you got? The vast majority of it is pointing towards finding new candidates and clients rather than enhancing the service that you're providing to them once you've got them. Obviously, at iIntro, what we do is we help to enhance the service that you're providing. And like you said, make it demonstrable. So you can go to your client, you can say, look, it's here. You can physically point to the parts of it that are going to make the pain of the client's problems go away. So, making it demonstrable is one thing. In recruitment, we haven't really evolved, though, have we, James? We're still using a very similar process and a way and a methodology that we were using in the 90s. James was using it in the 80s. Of course, I wasn't in the world of work in the 80s. So, it's completely negligible. But James was using it. James with his fax machine and his Rolodexes. Now, if we look at any other industry and how much that has advanced and evolved its service methodology in order to be able to provide much better service to its customers, recruitment is still lagging behind, really. So thinking about that, obviously, iIntro is great for helping clients and candidates to make more informed hiring decisions through using science, isn't it, James? Using science and objective information that actually helps clients to recruit better, and it helps candidates to make better decisions about where they're going next.
Well, I think there are both those sides to it. As you say, talking about the service proposition with clients and candidates, what type of service you have. Again, if you don't believe me, go onto Google and type in recruiters are, and you see the type of auto suggestions, which are all based on people's input. People candidates don't really have a great relationship with the recruiters. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the one you placed feels okay, but what about the 99 people you didn't place who were originally on your target long list that you actually touched? Yeah. So how do you manage those relationships? It's looking about what happens on that service proposition, and I think there are things that we can do there. And yes, there are lots of tools out there to help people, but professionalizing the recruitment industry and the space that we're in, and dragging it out of the 20th century. That's what you're talking about, Joe. My 20th century methodology model that says, what does a recruiter do? They go out there, they source some candidates, they put some CVs on the desk, and then you hand it over to the client. It's then it's just about candidate identification. It's not about the service proposition. And this is where you can differentiate yourself. You can say, listen, I do more than candidate identification. I do assessment, I do a selection, and I focus on retention. Those big, the things that are out there. I was just recording some videos this afternoon, Joe, and we're talking about the things that we do for people, for employers. And that's what, we're talking to recruiters here, but recruiters talk to employers. What can you do that will improve the amount of time that the client, or reduce the amount of time that a client wastes on interviewing the wrong people? Because recruiters are always throwing CVs at clients, because they've identified them and they want them to see all of them, but they're not all good, are they? They might dress up as being the best thing since sliced bread. So how can you help employers reduce the amount of time they waste interviewing the wrong candidates? How can you help employers improve their retention? So getting people to perform better in the role, and that's assessment and selection, bringing it through that single point solution. And how can you help the clients reduce their overall cost to hire? Now, it's very important that you listen to the words I said there. I would happily go to an employer tomorrow and say, I can help you reduce the amount of money you spend in your recruitment process. Now, they might have heard me say, I can charge a lower fee than somebody else. Actually, that's not what we're saying. What we can help them do is actually look at the overall cost of hiring. And that all relates back into retention rates and the such like. And then having a solution that helps deliver that and differentiate yourself is critical. And that demonstrable element where you can show them what you do. So my job isn't about candidate identification. It's about actually identifying, assessing, selecting, evaluating, and helping you retain people longer. Because the longer people stay with you, for the right reason, then the more likely the performance of the company is going to be better than it would have otherwise been. So that's what we can help recruiters do by going out to employers with a different message. We give them, we're aiming to give you different language that you can use. If all you are is a candidate identification process, then don't get me wrong, you'll probably do very well, but you just take your share of the market. This is about positioning you in a slightly different way.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about management consultants who specialize in talent acquisition and retention. So it is positioning yourself differently and using technology to help with that. Typically, if a business is recruiting for its own business using relatively subjective methods, which is normally looking at CVs and then interviewing candidates on the strength of the CV, it's about 57% effective, which is actually, obviously, we want to be able to increase those odds. We want to get our clients to the point where we've increased their hiring accuracy and their matching accuracy as best as it can possibly get. And technology is there for that. We use a great psychometric, and one of their phrases is, recruiting may be an art, but screening is definitely a science. And we need to be adding recruitment tech into this part of our process to help our clients to make more informed decisions, help them with their hiring accuracy. You remember ages ago, I got on a soapbox because I was talking about the dating industry. If you look at where the dating and recruitment industries were 10 years ago, everybody was putting adverts in papers. If you look at the dating industry, I mean, they say necessity is the mother of invention, but the dating industry is hugely evolved. They've invested in 21st century technology. They've invested in technology and changed the way in which they do it. It's not now just a case of go and see someone in the pub and see if you like them, because crikey, the amount of time that takes is labor intensive. They've added science and data-driven technology into the process in order to increase the matching ability. And now that's their value proposition, So I think when we look at recruitment, it's not dissimilar really in terms of the concept of what you're doing, the matching accuracy. So, we need to be investing in technology. Now, once you start doing that and you start investing in that technology on that side of it, you've got a great story, haven't you? You've got a great story to use the front end recruitment technology to get it out to as many clients as you possibly can, to say we are different. So technology will help you to differentiate your business and then sell your business differently in front of those clients.
And Joe, I think it's a great analogy between ourselves and the dating industry in generic terms. But I think there is a big dissimilarity in the sense that industry, has moved on, yet recruitment is still the majority of it is still about candidate identification and getting the CV on the desk of the employer. And that's not going to disappear tomorrow overnight, something like that. But you're going to say, if that's what I'm doing, what else can I do that's going to just sort of make me stand above the crowd? Because again, a lot of people come here think all we talk about is retained recruitment. Well, a lot of our clients do a lot of contingent work, but they do it on an exclusive basis, and they use, we've configured our system. It's a modular system, so a lot of our clients use our system to deliver contingent work. But they just don't use all of the features because some of the features are effectively paid for features. In terms of when you bring all those solutions together. But again, just differentiating yourself by showcasing your talent in a slightly different way. So let me give an example of what that might mean. If you're a recruiter, an everyday recruiter, and you're sending your CV to your client, well, what I'm doing on a contingent basis, I'm actually inviting my client into a technology platform that they can view 24/7 whenever they like. Of course, I'm going to present the CV. Of course, I'm going to present my what would I call it? My executive summary of why.
Yeah.
I'm going to put an image up there of you because we want to make it personal. What's it like? So I'm going to get an image, and I might just lift that off LinkedIn, or I'll get the candidate to send it to me, and I'll upload that somewhere on a platform where a client can just get on their phone and watch it and have a quick look at it and screen it. And I might put other things on there depending on the relationship. You're controlling me like that, Joe, or your dog? Anyway. So, but putting that onto a little bit of a technology platform just says, okay, well, that's a bit different because I'm sat here at the railway station waiting to get the train home, and here it's all there. Now, people go, yeah, but surely you can do that with a CV, but a CV is still a little bit impersonal.
Very two-dimensional.
Absolutely. So I think there are things that you can do out there, and that's what you need to think about. How can I raise my head above the rest of the crowd and just show the client I'm a little bit different? And then on the other side, from the candidate side, what can I do to develop that candidate relationship? Again, there's another great phrase we talk about in training, Joe, which is candidates are just clients in disguise. Look after them today and they'll be back tomorrow. And that's what I'm saying. If you don't, but a lot of people aren't focused on the candidate. They're just trying to chase the invoice with the client, hoping that they can place a candidate. But if you nurture your candidates, if you give them a place where they can almost call home, who's going to manage my career for me? So a story for another day when we talk about the Jerry Maguire relationship, where you actually manage your talent.
Yes, exactly.
The money. And that's a really important part for us as well. So I think there are lots of things out there. Obviously, we're one of the people in the market where we do have a single point solution. If you do want to get in touch with us, see it flashing up there on screen, go to retainedcall.com. Book some time with us. It'll be time really well spent, because whether you end up being a client of ours or not is neither here nor there. Yeah, I mean, we'd prefer it if you were, but actually we want to help you understand what is it that you can do. And sometimes you might think, I don't need you for that, or I do need you for that, whether it's training, whether it's coaching, whether it's technology. You bring all of those together. That's what we do. Our job is to bring it all together in that single point solution, where we bring in together, all of the technology aspect, all the assessment and evaluation parts, the training and coaching, focusing on retention for the client, so they understand that you can help them, reduce the time they're wasting interviewing the wrong people, improving their new employee retention rate and reducing their overall cost to hire. That's how we can actually help you do that. So that's what we do. You've got to find technology that differentiates you, not just get you to the same level. Everyone's got CRM.
Yes, exactly. And do you know what? There's a lot of clients out there, your end user clients, who are now going platform blind because we're sort of shoving technology in their faces. I think if for people who've got recruitment technology already, or for those of you who are looking into it, I think, our top tips, because we discussed these before, our top tips are really to develop a plan. That plan has to be an overall strategy of what does the end game look like. So what are you looking to achieve with it? What parts of your business are you looking to improve or enhance? Which parts of it need to continue to be a people-based task or function? Which of it can you outsource? Think about front end. So think about attraction, engagement, conversion, fulfillment, and then retention of candidates and clients. Those different facets of your business. What part of it still are fee earning, what I call the fee earning parts of it? You're at the money end of the process. What parts of it are the end of it where you can probably outsource it? I think once you've got a plan, then you can go out to market. I definitely say get recommendations. Ask people in the marketplace. LinkedIn is a great place to ask for recommendations. Find out from people who are actually using it what it does, because what you'll find from a lot of tech companies is they'll tell you what it does when you get it in your business. In actual fact, it doesn't link up, or it doesn't do what you wanted it to do. So I think make sure you get recommendations, and make sure you do your research with it. Once you've got it in the business, make sure all your team are trained up on it. Don't just give them a piece of technology and expect them to know how to use it. And then measure it, James, isn't it? Measure the results. You need to get the return on investment. If it's not doing what it was designed to do, if it's making your recruiters' lives harder, then it's not the thing for you. Take it, unplug it, and go and find something else.
Indeed. So, Joe, I think we'll call that a wrap for today. It's been great. It's a big subject, but just think about that point. That the whole point of the topic of this one: how can I use the technology that's out there to differentiate myself? Not just to keep up with the Joneses. How can I use it to differentiate myself? How can I use it to help me make more money? How can I charge higher fees? Those are elements that you need to look at. Don't just buy things for the sake of it. Look at things which can actually bring things together, which means you can demonstrate a different value proposition to your prospects and clients and candidates. So listen, thanks very much. There's no show next week, but in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be joined by one of our clients. One of our client companies. There's going to be 2 people on show, a guy called Christopher Slade and Simon Grant. So, Joe, we're looking forward to welcoming them. They work for a company called Executive Integrity, and they're going to tell you about their journey and how technology has helped them enable their business and the results and performance they've got from it as well. So, look forward to you joining us in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks very much for listening. So, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. Have a good week, everyone.